You ready for Spider-Man 2?
I don't think you're ready for Spider-Man 2.
I don't think you are.
I think I'm ready. Hello, Spider friends and Bone Saw. No, I'm joking. Spider-Man Retrospective.
That's us.
Your monthly episode. We're back reviewing every Spider-Man movie right now. Animated series in the future. I'm Storm and Norman. Try us now.
I am the pizza delivery boy, Dylan Musk.
It's pizza time.
It's pizza time.
I love that line.
I'm doing that from now on. Whenever I deliver pizza, it's pizza time.
We gotta do on the
They're
cast.
like, no tip.
We
Get over
gotta
it.
do on the cast like share the load. I've been waiting for
Share
years
the load.
for someone to make a pizza time gif, and no one has.
Oh.
Taylor Field, if you're watching this, or I'm gonna get you, I need a pizza time gif.
There's been some good gifts this year. I know
Yeah.
this was like 2004, but you know.
I want to
We're
gift
watching
this
it
because
now.
anytime someone's like, "What do you feel about this?" I'd be like, "It's pizza time." Like that's a good thing, you know. Finally, we're joined by.
I'm just Cosmid.
Oh, what? Boo!
He didn't take yours.
Come
He took
on.
mine.
Did he
No.
actually?
No.
It was Storm and
The-
Norman.
I don't know. Web slinging Cosmid.
Okay, we'll take it.
Were you a webhead on the last one, right?
I was the wall crawling menace.
Right. I thought you'd do something with Doc Ock. You know, like the 8-arm, like the 6-arm.
The 6 arms.
I don't
The
know.
robotic arm kind of.
If you haven't guessed by the title, if you haven't guessed what we're talking about, we're reviewing Spider-Man 2. For the regular listeners, we're taking a break from the animated series. We're reviewing all of Spider-Man.
This is Spider-Man 2 with Andrew Garfield.
No.
Oh.
That is coming up. You can get it early on Patreon right now.
Yes,
What's
I mean,
going
if you are sad that we are taking a break from that, there probably is a lot more on, or there will be soon enough on the Patreon.
Oh, yeah, for
Because
sure.
We're going to probably do some more next week, I would imagine. Or
But
something.
we are
So,
going to, so we're taking a little break from the animated series, do these, and then we'll jump right back into that. But we're starting with, or we're continuing with Spider-Man 2 2004, the sequel to the hit Spider-Man movie.
Ooh.
The whole gang is back. We got a new
The whole
villain.
gang.
Dylan, what do you think? When was the last time you saw this, and what do you think about this
Right,
overall?
so the first Spider-Man movie, over my life, I've probably seen it, probably 7 or 8 times, so like a decent amount of times, but I hadn't seen it in like 10 years. This one I've probably only seen like maybe twice in my life, so this might be the 3rd time I've seen it, and obviously also in like about 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I was not a fan. No.
Whoa!
No.
Bombshell, because
Yeah,
just
I have-
references, people before the Dark Knight and Iron Man came out considered this and X2 as the greatest.
That's why
Superhero
last
film
cast
of
you
all
were
time.
saying a lot of people would consider this to be the best superhero movie
Yeah,
at the
and
time.
lots of people still
And
do.
I was like, me and Kyle talked about this a little. I was kind of just waiting to say this because, like, I honestly, where do I start? I guess I didn't like the villain like very much at all.
Ooh, and you're a big Doc Ock fan, the animated series.
I was in the animated series, and I just felt like it was like kind of slow and boring, and the problems like didn't make much sense. And I'm really excited to talk about it.
Wow, yeah, I got a lot to disagree already. Okay.
How about you, Kyle?
Yeah, what do you think?
So I too didn't like it.
You didn't like it?
I think over the movies, this is the kind of where it starts like going downhill. Why I didn't like Spider-Man as much.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
what is happening? I'm not fucking in bizarre world right now.
I guess there were some good moments, but I really kind of just felt pretty bored, and like, I was always checking my phone. I was like, when is this movie ending? Like,
Wow.
I don't know. I was, again, like what Dylan was saying. You're saying this is one of the highly rated films of also comic book movies, and it's hard for me to really grasp that because I felt like the first Spider-Man when I watched it was like, this is amazing. Like, this is what I picture Spider-Man, and I was watching this one, I was like, yeah, it's good, but like I felt kind of disconnected from it.
Right.
So
I remember loving this movie just as much as the first one back in the
Yeah.
day, but obviously the way I look at the movie then and the way I look at the movie now are completely different. And this one did not hold up for me. Yeah, no way.
Wow. Well, I know the title of this episode now. I've said in the previous episode I like Spider-Man 1 more than that, but it's because of a little personal bias. I think this is a better made movie. I think this is not very much as far as same quality, but it's like a Terminator 2, it's like an Aliens. It's building upon what the first one did.
Mhm.
You take out the origin story. I feel like the same way a lot of people call Toy Story 3 the better version of Toy Story 2. I think that's what this movie is. It's very similar to the first one in beats, especially with the villain, which is probably one of my minor critiques about it, which we'll get into. But like, I think it does a good job of expanding on Peter Parker and all those people, and it's a continuing through line. Lots of times, especially like you look at the Marvel movies, when it's the solo ones, they do their one adventure, it's done, and the next movie it's kind of reboot, we're doing it again.
Mhm.
Where there's storylines that are continuing to go through this film and
For sure.
continue over and have endings and whatnot, and even some are continuing to the third one, and I think that is what a good sequel does. I think the sequel does a great job of progression for Spider-Man as it's showing his struggle with being Spider-Man. So I think this is a great sequel. I think the flow of it's better than the first one because you have the awkwardness of jumping from high school to grad, and there's that kind of year jump, and it's all over because you're meeting everybody for the first time, where this one you know the stage it's set and you can kind of just play with it.
Yeah.
And I do think that the action set pieces are better in this one. Like the train sequence, the bank is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Even though I really love the Goblin ones, I think they do a good job of making... I think this one is everything's bigger and a little better, honestly. Even though I like the first one more because I like the ties to it. And I think there is maybe like less problems, but I think it flows better. And I think Toby's better in it. I think Mary Jane is better in it. I think they're all better in it. You know, so.
Okay. So where should we start then?
Well, I don't think we really got to go over we can go quickly over the cast about like, did you guys think anyone improved? Because I want to start with Mary Jane because I feel like she's a huge improvement in this movie.
Well, I think this movie and sort of in the last one, they really like Mary Jane's a huge part of the plot. Like she's a huge motivation for Peter for doing like a lot of things. And in this movie, more than the first one, she's incredibly integral to everything that's really going on. It seems like everything has a callback to her and what she's doing, and because she's always at the back of Peter's mind, and obviously
the connecting piece
damsel in
with
distress as well.
JJ's son's fiance,
Yeah, that tie-in as well. But I just like found myself like I felt like she was. I don't think I liked that. I don't think I liked that she was kind of the priority or as big as part as she was, because I just found her kind of boring. Like in the first one, she had some moments, but overall I was like, she's okay. And this one, it was same sort of thing. I just felt like she was okay, but there was more of her, and she was more important to the story, and so I didn't like that.
See, I found it was different because it's a different playing field. We talked about this a bit in the first one, where that was different, where she's the crush and Peter's vying for her. Where this, to me, is a back and forth of them doing the will they, won't they sort of thing, and then at the end they question it. My problem, it's funny what your problems are with this movie. Those are my problems with the third one when we get to that. My problems are the exact same with that. I was fine with them doing that all again because the end point was they're going to finally be together and they're together. I was fine with it being more romantically charged and about her and even her being the damsel in distress again to get to the point where they're together. And I liked it because it's a different dynamic this time. It's not just Peter vying for it, it's them vying for each other. There's roadblocks getting in the way.
I think one of the reasons I didn't like it is because I felt like she didn't make a whole lot of sense. Like, she falls for the astronaut guy.
Well, first she's dating Harry at the beginning of the film.
No, not in 2.
In 2, yeah, she is.
No, she's not at all.
Yeah, at the first scene, it's her and Harry together, and then she's
at the birthday party.
Yeah.
No, because then Harry says
they're not dating.
Harry says
I can see it being misconstrued that way, but they're just both there.
Because Harry says she's waiting for you, and Peter's like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Look at her, like she's here, she's doting on."
I thought that at first, but then like
see, that's why I like it because it ends. In Spider-Man 1 with him saying, no, we can't be together, Mary Jane is trying to be with him. She's trying to, and then eventually she's like, I can't take it. I'm going to be with this guy because you're not around.
I know, but the way it came across to me is like, she mentions, she's like, oh, I'm dating this guy now, by the way.
Seeing somebody.
Yeah, so to me, that's like, okay, so they've been dating, they just kind of met, and then like a week later, they're getting married. And
she does fall in love with Spider-Man after week 2.
I know, well, that's what's really dumb. She makes no sense. Like, okay, if you're still like conflicted about like Peter, then why are you getting married? And then why do you you left your wedding and then Peter kind of dumped you and then you were gonna go back? And it was just like, what the hell? Like, you make no sense at all.
This is the Harry argument.
Makes no logical sense.
This is your Harry argument from last one though, because is she supposed to wait for Peter if Peter keeps saying we're not gonna be together? Like, she can't just wait around her whole life to hope that Peter's gonna change her mind.
So what? You just get married in a week? I feel like that's not the answer.
I'm not saying that was the answer.
Well, that was her response.
We don't know how long they've been seeing each other, and maybe it's this point of they've been seeing each other for a few months now, maybe even 6, and it's the thing of like, I'm with this guy, but you know what? Peter could still be an option. Maybe she's coming to the point where it doesn't look like Peter's option. This is starting to get serious, and they do say it's a little quick, but like, hey, people get married quick all the time, and Mary Jane seems like that type of person. We talked about in the first movie, the way she falls for people. She seems like that type of person that would be like, you know what? I want to get married because this guy's like, she even says like he's a very nice guy, you know, things like that. Like I think if Peter's not around, this is a good, decent guy for her to marry. But the problem is there's the Peter looming over her. So I like it. What do you feel about the whole love angle in this?
I don't know. It's kind of just, again, back and forth. You guys both brought up good points, but I think I was just kind of having more difficulty of just like taking it in. And it's like, yeah, back and forth. I get it. I felt like for me, I thought that was happening in the first one, kind of.
We didn't get any back and forth.
Not like to this extent, but I felt like there was definitely a connection between the two, and then this is just more continuation, which is what it should be. And I guess Travis, who brought up a good point. This is just the whole thing is just continuing on from the first plot. So maybe I felt like I kind of already seen it before, so I felt like I wasn't getting anything different, just more of what I've already thought was happening. So that's why I was like, well, it's good, don't get me wrong, but at the same time I felt like I just already watched it before. So that's the vibe I was getting from this. Like, I'm not saying it's bad, but it's just, I felt repetitive.
Yeah. It felt like it took the whole movie to do something that could have happened in like half an hour.
See, but I disagree because I think them taking the whole movie builds to it and it doesn't feel rushed.
I think
that moment when MJ sees Peter without the mask, to me, I think that feels earned, and they have that conversation.
The reason I'll disagree is because they've had a movie before where they could have got together and it would have been fine.
Which movie?
The first one. Like, if they were together and maybe you change like one scene or something, then it would have been believable. So the fact that you take a whole nother movie to set it up, like, I don't know. To me, I felt like I was waiting around for it too much. And then when it happened, I was like, whatever,
I
don't
think
care.
The first movie, they didn't play her so much as the damsel in distress, and then really accentuated this more in the second one, it would have been a lot more effective for myself.
But see, when you guys saying, like, the waiting for, like, once again, I would disagree because in the first one, he's just trying to get MJ. When he realizes he can't do that, he has to be Spider-Man, and he shuns her away. You don't get to see the struggle of, hey, I really want to be with this girl, I really want to have a life, but I'm Spider-Man at the same time. I don't think you get that struggle in the first one. There's not a struggle of him, I don't know if I can balance these two lives. It's purely, I gotta stop the Goblin, and I really like MJ. In this one, it's trying to balance his lives out. That's why I feel like it's earned, where it's like, if you rush through that, then it's like, oh, I'm Spider-Man, and I just get Mary Jane, and that's all hunky-dory, right? That's my thing of, like, I feel like if it works out really quick, then it's like, well, that struggle with him quitting Spider-Man wouldn't happen in this movie, which I think I would really like that him stop being Spider-Man.
I think that's fine. It's just there's too much of the damsel of distress in the first one, of just like it's always about MJ. If it was not as much about her, I think it would have been more effective in the second one, of like more of that that more back and forth, and I think I would have just worked a lot better for myself.
Oh yeah, see all my problems that you say, it's with 3. I don't feel that way in this one. I feel it's still earned. I feel she can be the damsel in distress. I felt like it was fine for her to be around one more time because she's, I don't know. They need that shot of they need to get that shot of her seeing Peter without the mask, and that's where she has to be in danger. So, Peter, what do you guys think about Peter's second go around, Toby? You still think he's a cardboard?
I would say that like some of his scenes, he still seems like he's just like standing there, and like it's almost like they could put
he's just awkward.
They could put a cardboard side. I don't know, but I liked him as much as I did in the first one. I feel like he had like a very consistent like travel from the first to second movie. Like it didn't seem like any time passed for him.
Yeah,
and maybe that's why it throws me with MJ or something, because that's like a few months, maybe even like a year worth of change, whereas Peter just like, I guess he has like a new job and stuff, and he's doing other stuff. But
pizza time.
Yeah, I really liked that scene. I think that was a good way to start off the movie.
Yeah,
started off high energy, he's delivering pizzas. I thought it was like really, obviously, it was really over the top and hilarious. I love that scene when he's like pushing all those brooms back in the closet for like a solid minute. Like I thought that was hilarious. And then hey, it's pizza time. And she's like, you're not getting a tip. Or,
I'm not paying.
Yeah. I thought that was a good way to start the movie, and I liked him in this movie. And I do like his scene with her. And we'll talk about that, I guess, a bit later when, like, at the very end with Dr. Octopus in the warehouse thing.
So good.
So I like Peter. I think he is, like, just, I guess, a little bit better in this one.
Yeah.
To me, he's pretty much the same. Like, I think he did the role well enough in the first one. It's just, like, sometimes he's just standing there kind of weird-like, but I guess that's what he was trying to do in the first place. So I think he was just as good as this one as he was in the first. Maybe a bit better.
Yeah, no, I agree. I feel like I didn't see like a different type of Spider-Man or Peter. Like it's the same person, same guy, and he did a really good job of keeping that continuity of the storyline. So I quite enjoyed it. I didn't think it was like the way more outstanding or anything. It really stood out. I just thought, yeah, no, like this is the same guy, and I enjoyed it.
For him, it almost seems like they could have filmed these movies back in the same time frame, and I don't think I would have been able to tell a difference.
I feel Spider-Man is better in this one. For me, the reason I put it even better, it's a writing thing too. I feel you feel the progression of his character though. Like instead of him learning like how to be Spider-Man, how to balance his job.
So I have a question then. So when he starts to lose his ability, why is that? Is that because of the lack of motivation?
I think
or
it's
something?
a morale thing of he wants to do all these other things, and he knows if he wants to do those things, he can't be Spider-Man. So yeah, I think it's a mental problem.
He has to be Spider-Man and his abilities, or he's not.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why when Mary Jane
I was
kind
of confused for a bit.
That's him saying, "I need to be Spider-Man again." So see, that's why she needs to be damaged with distress.
Which is fine.
Again.
But you don't need her 3 times in the first movie and then do it all over again in the second movie.
She's only now shows once in this movie, though, to be honest.
That is true.
But it is the final, most epic moment.
Yeah.
But you need that for the mask.
Fair enough.
Franco as Harry.
I thought he was a cold hard killer in this one. He just wanted Spider-Man dead at all costs. He does not care. He'll give up that item. I can't remember the name of the Trillium on.
Some sort of metal.
Some sort of metal. Yeah.
Tritium.
Yeah. Yes. So I think he's kind of just like Peter. Could have been back to back filming kind of the same thing. He in this movie.
Oh, I disagree. I think he's a completely different.
You think he's completely different? I think
not completely, but 75%.
He's a lot different, yeah.
But what I mean is that his progression, it doesn't really feel like any time's passed for me. To me, he's the acting and I guess the performance was kind of the same from obviously in this movie he's a lot darker and he's more evil, obviously, because he kind of gets the Green Goblin costume.
Was a lot more presentable. He's running his dad's business now. He's not just a kid anymore. That's what I kind of got from it all. So
I think for me it's again just I felt like Mary Jane just seemed kind of disconnected from this movie in the first one, whereas he just passed perfectly into this one.
Oh, see, to me, I feel like he feels almost completely different. The only time where I feel like you get the old Harry is in the birthday scene when they surprise him and he's talking to Peter. After that, he's a cool guy with the shades. He's like, oh, Spider-Man touched me. He's transforming more into his father.
Yeah.
Where it felt like in the first one, we didn't see that. We saw the kid looking up to his father. Where in this one, to me, I felt he was completely different. He was being his father. When he gets drunk and he's slapping Peter around is one of my favorite scenes in this movie. It's really good. So I feel like he is different, and I put, great evolution of his character, because I felt like we got to see of him being mad was that end funeral scene when he's like, Spider-Man's gonna pay. And then this one, I felt like that was him being a good guy to a bad event, and this was him becoming a badder guy. The third one's him being a bad guy. But this was the full-on, okay, same thing as the love. Okay, we're gonna build up to the love's there, and we're gonna build up to who's officially bad to set the stage for it. So I feel he is different in this one.
Yeah,
I agree with Travis. I feel like he's not a lot different, but I see where you're coming from, Dylan. It's he's kind of still, I think his acting wise is still good. It's just, but his character does change to be, I feel like, more presentable and more like his dad, and kind of he has to run the company now because it's all on his shoulders. So
Nobel Prize, Otto. Nobel Prize.
I don't know that reference.
He shouts at Doc Ock every time he sees.
Does he?
Yeah, he's always Nobel Prize. He's always
make
just
us lots of money.
Yeah, he's always just shouting at him. Anything else? Oh, I guess we got. Yeah, May. I think we talked about her in the last one, but
she had a bigger role.
She's better in this one for sure.
I think so. There's more for her to do. Very powerful scenes with Peter. That's again why I like this, because we talked about that in a certain Spider-Man movie coming up, a certain thread being started and never even being completed. That's why I love this movie, that I feel like everything that started in the first one gets continued or answered in this. And that same thing of they could have just dropped the thing of him never telling Aunt May about Uncle Ben and him making that mistake. But he has that scene where he sits him down, I didn't know if I could tell you this, and she doesn't even talk to him for a bit. She leaves him in a room alone, and then they have that powerful scene where she says, it's fine, I understand, it's water under the bridge, or whatever the expression is, she says, and then she has a big speech. So I really like her in this movie. I talked about my last time how much I like her, but I think there's more to do, and I like that specific that they tie up the Ben thing in this movie.
Yeah, I think, between that and the fact that there's, like, notice of foreclosure and stuff like that, she has to move out. Like, there's some actual, like, I guess the struggle in the first one is that Uncle Ben passed away, but it almost doesn't seem like we get a scene with her dealing with that in the first one, whereas in this...
We see her break down once when Peter comes home in the first one.
Right. And she tries to brush it off like it was nothing.
No. In the very first one, he gets home from after getting the shooter, and she's sitting on the couch waiting for him.
Right.
And she starts talking, she just breaks down.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck, I hate Spider-Man 3. Spider-Man 3 destroys the scene. Like, it makes this... Wait until you see it. It makes this scene... It takes everything away from it. I love that scene of him telling her. That's my biggest thing I take away from Aunt May. I think she's great in this movie, but I love the scene of him.
Yeah, I think this movie, she has, like, some more personal struggles and things that she's actually doing.
Her action scene with Doc Ock's great when she blasts him in the face with an umbrella. When the knife comes up...
What's her line that she says there?
Shame, or didn't she go like, shame on you, or something like that? Yeah, the knife comes up, shame on you, and she just blasts him in the face, which notorious Doc Ock married Aunt May in the comics one time. It's a big trick. Yeah, it was a big trick,
Oh, big trick.
Yes.
There's all the ruse.
So speaking of the man, Doc Ock, Dylan, I'll start with you because you love Dr. Octopus, both of you guys and I like him too, but you guys like him a lot more animated series, one of your highlight characters.
Yeah, I thought he was really good.
I thought you were going to really like this because Doc Ock's...
I did at first. I really did at first for this, I'd say his probably first like 3 or 4 scenes.
I bet I know what... I'm not even writing it down. I bet I know why you didn't like him.
Well, I think it was kind of a switch because... like, obviously, he has the scene where he's showing off his new technology. Mm-hmm. I can't remember the name of that stuff. Yeah, and he's like, hey, check it out. I got this
no foreshadowing going on.
This stops all the things
going on.
Yeah,
it spins around the camera. Yeah, all slow motion like. And then, obviously, shit goes awry. Everything's blowing up. And then that
His wife dies really violently.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Which doesn't make sense.
A slow motion piece of glass flying.
Doesn't that machine just pull in metal? Shouldn't technically the metal just pull
the
glass
metal
just fall
is
the
holding the the glass and the window panes.
But don't you think once the glass breaks, just fall to the ground instead of the glass sheet?
No, I don't, because that shit was powerful.
The whole building was coming in at that point.
I guess. It felt a little like, I don't know, I think she could have made it.
Okay, I feel like I missed this, but did he watch her die?
No, I don't think I think he turned around and saw her, like, fall to the ground.
He saw her, fall to
the
ground.
I also, when that was happening, that slow motion glass, I 100% thought it was going to be that, cut to Spidey grabbing it with, like, web, and then she just dies, like, oh, okay.
Yeah, these movies weren't, they didn't fuck around killing people in these movies.
No, they kill people off all the time.
Oh, yeah, but continue with Doc Ock.
Yeah, and I can't remember the exact one, but I guess it's, like, the point when he turns from being, like, still a scientist, or, like, just a good guy who's a scientist, he has a good heart, and, like, obviously, wanting power. I felt like that's, that transition from him being that to being 100% bad with no good intentions was like maybe a 15-second monologue, and then the only time he comes back is after he gets like popped by Spider-Man at the very end. And so to me it just made no sense. Like he went from a good guy to completely bad guy, opposite end of the spectrum in 15 seconds, and I didn't feel like that got built up enough. And the problem with it is because he was gone, like he was we talked about the pacing of like all the characters in the villain in the first movie. How you always felt like you weren't forgetting them; they kept coming up. I swear, there's like a 45-minute segment where Dr. Octopus isn't there, and that would have been perfect time, even if it's sprinkle a 1-minute, 2-minute scene in there.
Like him, like I guess
that transition. Give us that character development rather than just one quick scene. So I think that's why I didn't like him. But I always like his. The action of his arms. I thought the CGI of it was well done, and I like his action scenes, and I love that train scene on the clock tower and stuff like that. But I didn't like the character. Like I didn't have any reason to like him.
I'm a 50-50. I like the character in the sense of the way the actor Alfred Moloney plays Doc Ock. I think is perfect. I think he plays him very much not as smarty pants as the animated series, but very much as comics. The gravitas he carries himself with in the movie and the way he acts, I think it's for me his motives. I think him acting the way like
I would agree with like his first few scenes. I definitely agree with that.
I think even though when he's Doc Ock though, I think he's still acts good as the villain Doc Ock. I think it's the motives, how he's bad, but him just being bad, like, acting-wise. Like,
Fair
the
enough,
one
yeah.
point, because Doc Ock always has a little cheekiness to him, and, like, that scene when everyone stands up on the train, like, you're gonna have to get through me, and they all stand up, he's like, very well, and he just pushes them aside. That's Doc Ock to the perfection. So I think his acting is on point as a character. I think his motives, because I'm the same way. I don't buy that he turns right away. And no one points this out, and this is why I like the first one a bit better. It's very much just Green Goblin again, but to me a lesser good version, because he has these things talking to him and telling him to do that. Yeah, and the difference was with Norman, you could see him getting sicker and sicker. With Doc Ock, he's good,
right
he snaps, but then at the end it's like, it seems like he snaps out of a coma, like, oh, I've been bad this whole time. But to me, in the movie, it feels like he's been controlling himself the whole time, where with Norman, it even felt like, oh, something takes over him, where with Doc Ock, it's this back and forth of, oh, sometimes he's in control, sometimes he's not. But to me, it felt like the whole time he was really in control. Like, he decided to rob the bank and build these machines, but at the end, it's like, oh, because I screwed up again, I guess I'm a good guy. So I like the actual performance. I think his one-liners are good. I think the character's good. The acting's good. It's the motivations that I don't like in this. And I've always hated the Arms talking to him and controlling him, because I like my Doc Ock being, I'm a bad guy, Spider-Man, you're in my way, move along, you know? And he shows that in the middle. I think in the middle, if you take out his motivations, he does show that character, like the animated series, of like, you're in my way, Spider-Man, like, I don't really want to fight you, just let me do my stuff. He's gonna drop something about being smart and move along. Like, I like his scenes with Harry, too.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's his motivations for me that don't really make sense. And, you know, fight scenes are great, though. Great foil, like, to have a guy that can fight each other four-arms, you know, so.
Of course. Yeah.
Kyle, what do you think?
I think you guys kind of just really hit all the points.
Well, good, we'll move on. No.
Yeah. No, like the CGI with all his arms is really cool.
Yeah.
Like, to think about that was happening in 2004, and even now, just looking at this, like, that actually looks pretty realistic and kind of like definitely holds up to what's happening, or like the graphics now. Other things that I had problems with is kind of what Dylan was saying. Kind of, he was this really good guy, and that's why I asked, did his wife die? Because I felt,
I mean, did he see his wife?
Did he see his wife die? Because all of a sudden he wakes up in this hospital and he just cries out this no. It's like, why are you crying out this no? Like, where did I miss this?
I think because the arms are permanently attached to him. That's what the
Does he know that though? Like, he just
well, yeah, because he wake up and these arms are still attached to him.
I guess I don't really know.
I think it's kind of
well,
like
it's kind of. He looked around the room and saw the dead people. That's what I thought.
Well, he just killed everyone that was in the room.
Well, the arms killed everyone.
He didn't know.
Yeah, it's kind of like if you put on a Halloween mask and you woke up the next morning and it was still on you. I think you'd probably go no. You know.
Would I though?
If it's attached to your face.
Yeah,
you'd be a little concerned.
Well, to be fair, that contraption looked pretty painful. You could see a lot of bruising.
Oh yeah, I love that they do the bruising, and I love
when
that the show goes all into his spine.
Yeah, you can see like him flinching
twitching.
Pain and
twitching. All the people. Oh,
he turns
flinching.
He's Norman. Oh,
same thing.
No, but otherwise, like he did a really good job. Like Travis, kind of what you said, just to reiterate. Really, it's just that he has this moment.
Reiterate?
Yeah.
Reiterate is like right.
There's no L in there.
Yeah.
Oh, whatever.
Forget the L.
He has this moments at the beginning where like he starts kind of getting more detail about like kind of the science, and that's what I really liked about the animation series, is that they get really, it's kind of lame, but the more of the science and like the physics of why.
See, I don't think it's lame though. I think they do
know.
it in
It
a
depends
way.
who you are.
They just said like
I think it's
photon
really
reactors
cool.
and stuff.
Yeah. How they just start describing that, and like that's what I really liked about Doc Ock, and that's what really brought out. So to see that at the beginning and look at his wife and like kind of have that moment of connection where she's like really proud of what he's doing, and he's happy because he's doing something, trying to do like a renewable energy source, which.
And you have him and Peter bouncing ideas off one another, which
even
is
at
fun.
first, like Doc Ock is kind of a huge dick to Peter.
That's what I like when Harry's like when he's like. Oh, this is my friend. Like he's writing a paper. And he's like, I really don't have time. And Harry's just like, he's like, but I can always make time for friends with Harry Osborn. And then after he starts to talk to him and realize, oh, he's a smart kid, and then he finds out he's with Connor's class.
I kind of wish he had the dank bowl cut though. That would have been.
Oh yeah, I know. That's why I'm really mad actually that Mads Mikkelsen is already in Doctor Strange, because I think he would have made a great Doc Ock. And in Hannibal, sometimes he kind of had like you could shift that part and he could have it, but. He's just Calicious or whatever.
Calicious.
What is his name again?
Cas-
Caecilius. There it is.
Yeah.
But one time we're gonna fan cast talk off for the MCU. We're gonna do it. So start thinking of ideas. So anything? Cat? There's nobody new players. There's
Dr. Connors.
Oh yeah, Kurt Connors. Yeah, I really, really like him, and I've always said I was very disappointed he never got to be Lizard. I love Dylan Baker a lot, and there was plans apparently at one point, and then they got scrapped, and obviously there's no Spider-Man 4, so it sucks because he's in this, and like spoiler, he's in Spider-Man 3 as well.
Yeah.
So they carry him over. It was clearly like, oh, we'll get to this eventually. Sucks I never got to it, but he's a fun character just to be around. You know.
Yeah, I thought he was even a character who could have been jumping around in the first one. Maybe had a scene or two.
He was mentioned.
I mean, now that I know who he is, because I've seen him in a couple other of Spider-Man stuff now, and I know who that character is, and I always like to see him jumping around. And I don't know who the actor is, but he did well. I mean, there wasn't a lot to work with, but he did exactly.
See, now because the animated series, if you hear someone drop like Kurt Connors in the Homecoming, you're gonna go, oh, I know who that is. While some people are like, oh, I have no idea what they're talking about. As far as notes, love the credits that recap the first movie in like comic book art form. They show just like snippets of the most important scenes in the beats.
Yeah.
Because it's like almost like a previously on Spider-Man for people that hadn't seen it, and the score again complements it. Between that, the whole thing, I was just listening to it today. There's a score called Armageddon / A Really Big Web. It's the track that plays at the end of the movie, and when Mary Jane are having their conversation on the big web. Because the score in that moment is so good and emotional.
Definitely.
I think the most iconic just shot of Spider-Man of all time is when Mary Jane runs down, she hugs Jameson's son, and then she looks up, and he's on that crane with his mask off, the suit is ripped, and he's doing the classic Spider-Man pose. I don't think there's any more like iconic shot of Spider-Man of that sky, and like he just looks fantastic in that moment. And every time I think of Spider-Man, we talk about that kiss. That's the other moment I think. And when I think of Spider-Man, like that's Spider-Man. And there's still not even like I have to like screenshot it on my phone and YouTube something. There's not like an official picture of that. Like I want like a Geek First fans, get me a painting of that. Like that to me, it's just like, and I love having my notes. Anytime Spider-Man suits are ripped up and beat to shit, I love it. That's why I worry about Homecoming because it's CGI. I wonder if we'll get that much. But I love when it's like a rip here and a rip there. Like when he was doing the train, the suit was ripping. Like I love the little details.
Even like in
that.
The first one with Goblin, and when the grenade blows up and half his mask.
He's missing an eye. Yeah, it's just it's cool instead of just having this clean looking suit. Like make him look a little messed up. So I love the score again in this.
I agree. 100%.
And like the Peter and Harry tension throughout the whole movie when like at the birthday it's like they're talking normally and he's like, oh, you're taking pictures of your friend, and he's like, how's the web caller these days? And every time like it's normal for a while and then Harry always brings it up, and like it's valid because at this point he just thinks Spider-Man just kills his dad. He has no idea the Goblin, which seems really random. That lots of people are trying maybe turning the curb thing Spider-Man might be a hero, and here he is still like, no, like he killed my dad. Like again, like there was no reason to, because in his mind he's just a businessman, right? So he'd be like, why would Spider-Man just kill my dad? Which is, oh man,
yeah. I think that relationship was pretty nice. I agree. I think what was the scene like the scene? I guess the scene when he has like the knife out and he's about to just stab him, but he wants to unmask him.
The
first.
very end, when he says, "I want to look in your eyes while you die," because he makes that deal to get the Tritium or whatever from Doc Ock if you bring me that. And I really like the reveal.
The reveal's very good.
Yeah, and I love that. Peter gets up and he's like, "Where's Mary Jane?" He's like, "What?" He's like, "Where is she?" He's like, "What?" He's like, "Mary Jane. He took the Tritium and everything like this." He's talking. He's laying all this stuff out to Harry. What's going on? And Harry just goes, "But you killed my dad." And then Peter goes, "There's bigger things at play than you and I." And that signifies that moment of Harry knows there's bigger things, but that's almost like a slap in my face of like, you killed my dad, and he's just like, we'll talk about that later. And he still helps them out in the end of the day. That's what I like about the first one, the second one with their villains. Harry still tells them where they are, but then you can tell he's pretty distraught when at the end, which it's I cannot wait for you to see the third one. There's
me neither.
Just wait till you see what they do. Wait till you see what they do to Harry. It's ridiculous because I feel they do such a good job of his character in this movie. And we'll talk about now. Because we're talking about. I love the end scene, him finding the Goblin's lair. I love him turning around just saying, "Son."
The little horror.
And I love the mirror. It's classic comic book. And you haven't seen the animated show. This happens in the animated show. Nice. And just, "Son, I'm here." I love the whole reveal. I love him finding the pumpkin bombs, the mask. The only thing that takes away from it, I think the reveal's perfect, and when it fades away, it's like, man, I'm ready for Spider-Man 3. I'm ready to see Harry and Peter go at it. Mm-hmm. Why did his dad pop up? I love seeing Willem Dafoe. Anytime I can see him being Norman, why? Norman saw that because he got ejected with the stuff. Harry's not been ejected with that stuff yet. That was always my thing. If he got that split personality,
maybe Harry was just getting like, you know, a little schizophrenic, getting a little.
I don't like it.
Freaked out
because it's on the mirror. It's just too on the nose.
Maybe it's like his imagination that's kind of going on. Well, it has to be his imagination.
And spoilers, it's not like, oh, maybe he was like injected. In the first like 10 minutes of Spider-Man 3, they show him like, take the Oscorp stuff.
I guess they do it to show that he is like becoming like his father.
Yeah. But even his father didn't have those hallucinations till he had the Oscorp formula. That's always bugged me as a kid. I loved it, and it doesn't bug me enough. I wouldn't take it out because I like seeing that scene with his dad and then having that.
I don't take it as like it was an actual hallucination. I thought it was more like that's just what he was thinking about. Like he was maybe thinking that he was becoming his father.
I guess my problem is then he like throws the knife and it's like, oh, this is where the layer is. Like it's just kind of like
I
these
thought it was
things.
Kind of cool.
It is, but
like
to see his dad there and then to throw the knife and the layers.
I agree. They could have had. I guess even James Franco like doing some weird Willem Dafoe stuff or something.
They couldn't yet because he hasn't taken the stuff yet.
No, but I just mean like facial. I don't know. They could have.
I thought maybe. I guess another way you could think about it as well too is that he was just trying to, you know, you remember the last bit of his dad kind of just being an angry and bitter person. He realized he was becoming that. So then that's what he looked into the mirror and he was seeing himself becoming that angry dad, and that's why he threw it because he's like, I don't want to be like you.
True.
Or whatever he said, and then that's when he found the layer.
I would understand it if Spider-Man 1 didn't exist, but because in this world they set the rules up of like, oh, crazy people talk in the mirror because he had some formula.
Hey, arms.
Well, I wouldn't take it away because I love the scene. And I love when he's like, but he's like, you gotta kill Spider-Man. And he's like, but Peter's my friend, and William Dafoe just goes, but I'm your father. I love the scene, and I wouldn't take it away.
Well,
but it's
just a couple other like similar things where they like have a replay of a scene that was in the first one. So like they do that with Peter going out back, throwing out some garbage, and then like Mary Jane's there. They have a conversation, and then even like
but different conversation though. It's like
what I mean is like they're like doing a throwback to the first movie, and then they do that as well with like there's like a house fire, and then Peter goes in there. Or
I get that's a throwback, but the other two fires happen all the time. Peter's and MJ's family still live in the same spot. Yeah. I don't understand how Harry's talking.
Oh, I'm not talking about the mirror thing. I'm just talking about in general, like that scene existing.
Oh yeah.
And I think they did a lot of like those callbacks to the first one. Mm-hmm. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I like the scene. It just has always annoyed me. Of like, I don't understand what's going on.
Maybe he has just a pre-existing mental illness, and that
really brought it up.
I love the scene when Jameson and his assistant are trying to come up with a name for Dr. Octopus, and then one guy's like, Dr. Octopus? He's like, no, that's lame. And then he says something else, and he's like, Doctor Strange? I like it, but it's taken. I was kind of confused. Do they, like, why would that be taken?
Well, I think it's a nod to, like, there's a Doctor Strange out there. Like,
but, like, is there in this world? I feel
not
like
in this world, but Sam Raimi's a big enough fan of Doctor Strange.
So that's like a fourth wall kind of joke?
Yeah, that's a fourth wall. Like, no way Doctor Strange was going to ever plan to come with it. It was just like a fun...
It was a little weird.
Even though they even bring up quite a bit, like, oh, Peter reads a lot of comic books as well, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, that's why the kid's, like, the kid has a bunch of Peter's old comic books or something like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's all I got. I don't know.
At one point, there's a random person. The very first time I think we see Spider-Man go fight some crime, it's a lady. They're like, it's a web. And then, like, Spider-Man goes and she's just like, Go, Spider-Man! She's like, go, Spidey, go! And, like, it's really awkward. Like,
there's a couple, like,
the violin.
Yeah, I was about to comment the violin.
I love the violin part.
Oh, that was dumb.
Oh, see that? I love that Spider-Man. Where have you gone to, Spider-Man?
Oh, and the Stan Lee cameo in this movie is pretty much the exact same as the first movie. You could easily miss it. I did catch this one. He's actually moving someone as well. Like, it's the same thing. There's some rubble falling from the sky, and he moves
it completely.
It's like half a second. I don't blame you for missing it.
You blink, you miss it. Bruce Campbell, we talked about the first episode, but he's back as the theater usher, the jerk. I like that scene a lot. Of like, oh, you're tying, and like, can I help you?
I thought it was kind of weird. Like, I feel like he's resourceful enough to get into that theater another way.
But he's a good guy. He doesn't want breaking any laws now.
Okay.
He's no longer
Okay,
Spider-Man. He's no longer
that's
Spider-Man.
not-
He is Peter.
Yeah, exactly.
At this point.
He doesn't want
He's-
to break laws.
Doesn't even know who Spider-Man is.
Do you not think that he cares enough for Mary Jane and knows how
How are
important
you
it
gonna
is to be
sneak
there?
into there?
Climb on the roof and go in through the vents. I don't
And then
know.
you'd be like, what the fuck is, like, why is your, like, friend just coming through the backstage, climbing through our area?
Do you not think he's sneaky enough to get in there?
No, because he literally pulls up to the theater in a stolen vehicle.
That was pretty funny.
It was, but, like, he's not that subtle.
I'm shocked that you guys don't think he is capable of
He
making it into that theater without being
He
seen.
ain't Matt Murdock. I don't think he's smart enough to do it. I don't. He's
Really?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think he can build things for clean energy and maybe solve world hunger. I don't think he can sneak into a theater.
You guys, no.
I
You're
don't think-
ridiculous. You're ridiculous.
How's he supposed to get to that seat? That's my problem. If he goes, obviously it's either those doors or go through the backstage. Once he gets to backstage, he's
You
gonna
can
have to
just climb
walk
up the roof and then go down from the
down,
vents.
down in the middle of the show.
There's probably like a bathroom or something
and
you
then
could have
go
snuck in
sneak
through.
through this bathroom. and
But we
walk
don't know
in.
that for sure that there's a bathroom or
See,
not.
But
Makes me
there's
illusions.
probably a bathroom, and there's probably other doors in that building. That was
There
a big
could be,
building.
but he doesn't
That
know.
building was multi-floors.
Because what happens if he gets caught just sneaking around this theater? Then he could be getting a fine. He
For
could
sure.
be, yeah, he could
Whatever.
be America that time.
Well, that's why you go in as Spider-Man. If you get caught, oh, fuck it, you just leave.
Yeah.
And if you don't, then you go to the bathroom,
Yeah.
you turn into
You'll
Peter, and
ruin
you go to your
MJ's
seat.
night, though. They'll be like, oh,
I don't think it would,
show.
because she
No.
could look back and see, oh, he came. That's nice.
What?
Because isn't it better if he comes halfway through than if he doesn't come
But
at all?
he
And
didn't
then he's
know.
outside and he's making excuses.
He didn't-
Oh, the usher didn't let me in. He's like on the phone for
He
like
didn't
half an
know
hour.
Mary Jane was gonna find out that
Talk
he
to
was
an answer
Spider-Man.
machine.
Okay, also that answer machine, that also didn't make sense because, you I put 50 more cents and talk for another 5 minutes. So he clearly had the money he was like looking for, he just couldn't find it at the time. Why don't you just call again? You have the 50 cents, just call
I
again.
think because he had nothing more to say, because he
He
did a
knew-
speech about I'm Spider-Man. Like,
Wasn't he in the middle of a thought and then he got cut off?
he was, but I think because he was considering saying something, and then he's like, no, but he's again, like the car in the first one, saying it out loud to himself.
Yeah.
Like at one point, he says it in the windowsill too when he's standing there looking
windowsill?
outside.
The windowsill.
So- When he's standing,
Open
he's
up the
like,
window.
he's like, don't I get to be happy? Like, why can't I be happy? What am I supposed to do? There's multiple times where I think he's just like monologuing to himself, and that phone was, and I don't think he gets sneak in the theater. I'll stand by that.
Peter is very late for everything he does
Well,
in
he's
this film.
Spider-Man. He's fighting crime.
He's late.
He's
He's
like,
late in the animated series too. He's always late.
Yeah.
He loves
Yeah,
being
Ask
late.
Mary. Ask.
I feel like
Aunt
that's
May.
like kind of the purpose, not the fault of this entire movie. If he was on time, I don't think we'd have any of these problems, other than the whole Doc Ock thing.
yeah, like
That's
the
a little.
biggest criminal problem.
I'm the guy who's making.
But like he was gone
Son.
for half the movie, so screw him.
Another quote I liked is I think it was from the first birthday scene, and I think it was in that backyard scene actually when they were throwing out the trash again, and Mary Jane's like, I like seeing you tonight, Peter. He's like, oh boy, yeah.
I love that.
And then he says that, and she's like, oh boy, yeah,
and then
what?
she repeat, yeah, and it's so cute the
Oh,
way
I
she,
love that. I thought it was
yeah.
hilarious. It was
And
really
she says
weird.
it silently. Oh, I love that.
That was
scene.
just like so awkward. Like, who says that?
Mm.
Oh boy, yeah.
See, and that's why I think sometimes the way he acts is on purpose, because even that line is super awkward, and
Well, yeah, the way he delivers it for sure.
he makes it work. I love the Chainsaw Doc Ock waking scene. That's like once again like the first one, super Sam Raimi, like horny moment. Horror moment is like when the arms was going around taking people. That
That was
girl's
brutal, man.
that girl's
Brutal scene.
fingernails. I
Oh, yeah.
love that there's a classic Evil Dead chainsaw. The doctor goes for a chainsaw, and Evil Dead character has a chainsaw for an arm. So Sam Raimi throwing some love out to himself. So like that scene was very much, especially in that point where in a time where he wasn't doing horror movies anymore, it was fun to see him do little nods to like, oh, his old work. So I love that scene. I think that scene's actually, I guess I watched it when I was that age, but I still think it's a little maybe almost too dark for depending on the age, because it's pretty brutal, that scene.
It is
like,
pretty brutal.
It's scary. Like to me, it's just that fingernail.
Well, because that last guy gets his face like torn apart. Well, you don't get
Yeah.
to see it, but you can imagine.
One guy, doesn't he get electrocuted? Doesn't he like have a knife or something, and he puts him up in the lampshade and he just like electrocutes him?
I don't remember that. Well, Dr. Octopus gets electrocuted. You know?
Oh, I yeah, I remember.
Whoa.
I do love it anytime Spider-Man has to pull big wires though, and he's using all his like his
All his
body. He does that multiple times in this movie, so I like anytime he has to pull big wires. So it's great.
Oh,
Does it in the anime series as well too?
Just gigantic plugs. all
Not
the time,
enough
yeah.
though. Yeah.
let's talk about the train scene with the when he gets revealed. First of all, when he's like he puts his like feet in the train tracks to try to stop it. There's like one of the guys on the train is like I can't remember what he says exactly. He's straight up like
he says, "You got anything else?
Yeah.
You got any other idea?" And then Toby
the
turns
way
around.
the way he says it though is
It's like super sassy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, imagine if Spider-Man was just like, "No," and he just left him, and he's like, "I was joking."
Well, I think he was being total asshole.
Oh, that's the only time I legitimately feel that Toby's an asshole in the movie because he turns around back like he deserves to be an asshole, but he's like, "Yeah, I gotta feel like that's the only time he shows sass to anybody." So. Yeah, I hate that guy who said that to him. He's trying to save him, but I love the whole action scene. Like, it's so fun. That's where Doc Ock's arms are good. When he just, like, takes two people and just throws them out for Spider-Man to save. They're just whipping each other back and forth. I don't know. I love the actual stopping of the scene, which that's why some people criticize Homecoming with the boat scene when it's, like, Spider-Man holding boat. It's like, we've seen this already, and this, to me, is... I probably will imagine be much more dramatic. I like that his face is off because, yeah, his facial expressions are a little,
they're hilarious.
Yeah, but I think they work because they're showing him really struggle to hold this fucking train just with his body,
Makes sense,
right?
a lot of mass.
Yeah, so
like his muscles are like popping out and stuff.
Yeah, I think that train scene from start to finish is one of like the best action comic book scenes ever. It's just it has a little humor in there, but it's just. They let them fight for an extended time, and I like that. That happens a lot for me in Marvel movies where very first Thor and Loki have this ending battle fight, and it's really small and really anticlimactic. I like that this feels like a video game boss battle. Like, when you're fighting your main villain, I always want one fight that feels very long or very, like, choreographed and well done, and that's what the train scene felt like. Because then at the end when they fight in, like, his scientist area, it's a very small fight, but I feel like it's fine because we already got to see them do their huge fight. And we already got to see them fight the bank, too, but the train scene, I think, is really well choreographed. Maybe the best, like, Spider-Man, like, fight scene. So.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah. I did like the bank scene. I thought it was funny, just throwing money bags around and just coins flying everywhere.
Yeah.
And that guy, like, picks up a coin.
Joe McHale.
Slaps him.
Yeah.
Who's that?
Joe McHale. He's a very popular,
not popular enough.
Comedy star right now. He was in Ted.
Never saw Ted.
He was in Community.
Never saw Community. I want to get around to it.
Yeah, well, there you go. You'll know who he is then. But and I like the scene that when he passes out, they all pick him up, they put him down. They're like, "Oh, he's a kid" and everything. And I like that they give him his mask back, and they're all like, "We're not gonna tell him." And I like that it's a thing of, hey, we've seen Spider-Man face, but he saved us. He put his life on the line for us. We're not going to say anything, like, just thank you. And I like that. It shows, once again, much more subtle way of showing all of New York. Yeah, appreciation for Spider-Man, helping Spider-Man.
Yeah.
There's no cranes around in this movie.
Another thing that I have is when Spider-Man Peter gets sick, and you feel like he's losing his powers, and he goes to some random doctor and asking him, hey, like,
I had a dream. Well, my friend had a dream.
Tie-dye shirt.
I felt like but what I really wanted was him to go to like Dr. Connors and kind of ask him about that.
Too risky.
Is it though?
Because he's talking about being Spider-Man, and Dr. Connors might not specify in that.
But he could go as Spider-Man.
But this is what I liked about the.
Don't pull the animated.
That's what I wanted in the animated series is like for him to do that. And like, hey, I know you, you know me, kind of ish. Can you help me out?
Kind of ish.
Kind of ish. Different situation. He doesn't know Kurt Connors on this, right? So you'd have to save him as Lizard. That's why they were waiting. They're like, Spider-Man 4, we're gonna get those animated series meetups, and it's like, oh, no, didn't know.
Couple questions for you guys. First of all, like, because Peter moves out and he gets his own apartment in this one. What's up with, like, his renters? Like, that's kind of weird. Why did they include that? And, like, that other girl who's like, here, have some chocolate cake.
Yeah, the cake seems very strange. It just happens and leads nowhere, and she's like, thanks, and goes away. Like,
and, like, why have that landlord? Like, why does he exist?
Comedic
value.
I didn't find it.
No, it's not value. Weird. I'm saying it wrong. What is it called?
Relief.
Yeah, comedic relief. That's what he's supposed to be.
And did you guys like that scene?
He's alright. I don't think
think it took away from
anything. Not the way you sound like you're talking about.
I just feel like it was unnecessary.
I feel like, it's just
like
a shitty landlord.
You could have taken that out of the movie?
You could have, but I think it's just showing that another thing in Peter Parker's life that, he has this landlord
who's
always
kind of late for his rent, Peter
I already know he's late. I don't even know.
Peter's life is just going shambles. He can't pay, he doesn't have any money.
I have another question for you guys. So, at the start of this movie, Norman is He's pretty much running Oscorp.
Harry.
Sorry.
Norman's 6 feet under.
Yes, well,
Eagle.
this is...
Well, Mary
Here's the
and Tony
tieback,
are...
because everyone on the board was trying to get rid of Norman. So don't you think they would have gotten rid of his son, too?
No, you remember? He killed all those board members.
Yeah.
Norman.
He killed like 5 of them.
No,
There was like 20 people at that
He
table.
killed even the wheelchair guy. I think all those people were up there on that thing that had the power. So I think once he did it, it was just like Norman on the board alone.
Yeah.
So that's why I took it of like, okay, it was Norman, he died, so everything went to Harry. There's no more board members because Norman fucking skeleton
I guess
bombed
I
him.
took that completely differently. I only saw like 5 people die in that scene.
Yeah.
And so...
That was like the
20
5 people on
at
the
the table.
board member. Anyway.
I think they showed like
no, there was
the
like 20 people at that board meeting.
There was,
A lot
but
of
they
people
showed the actors that were only like previously known for
Yeah.
other stuff. I think the consensus was that he killed them all because he never
Okay.
in that movie he never has a problem again with the board, right? Because they said they were
I
selling.
figured
that
there would
meat.
be an explanation for it, but I was just like, shouldn't he be out
Oh,
of
yeah,
there?
they're dead. They're
long gone.
They're
Poor
gone.
guys.
Don't worry about that.
At one point when they're doing the scene outside of taking the trash out, and Mary Jane's like, oh, Harry saw my plate twice, blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
Even my dad saw it, asked for some money after the show, which I like that
Yeah.
line. She says, but my best friend hasn't even seen it. Now, this is the thing. I don't think of her and Toby being best friends or Peter being best friends, and I defended the love romance. I think there's, the crush in the first one, then becoming a romance thing, but lots of girlfriends I had before weren't my best friend right before a girlfriend. Usually they become your best friend, but I didn't think they were best friends. So when she dropped that on, I was like, I don't know about that title.
I feel like she doesn't have a lot of friends as it is, and so she's just considering.
I don't know where they'll win after high school.
Well,
she's
she
very popular.
She has a line of bridesmaids at her wedding. So.
Yeah, she does. She had a lot.
Those are
Wearing
probably all the
black.
astronauts' friends, though.
Yeah.
Well, here's this could have been like an alternate universe. I guess in like the animated show, they're kind of like friends. They've been friends their whole life, and so it's kind of weird they chose to switch that up for this movie, and I guess more so the first movie is that they had never met before, even though they lived next to each other their entire life.
Well, because
So
Mary
it, like,
Jane,
it would
They
make
just
sense.
never really talked much to each other.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, like they knew each other's names, but I got the feeling they never even like really talked to each other.
No, not much. She's pretty nervous. She's
So
kind
I think it is weird that because that would like what I'm saying.
Friend.
My point here is that it would have made sense if they were friends.
Yeah,
their whole
I
life they
agree.
knew each other, and then in the events of number 1, they became better friends by way of like adverse.
But they
that's
don't
very
really in number 1. In number 1, they get a little closer, but I wouldn't say best friendish.
No.
Yeah, I think it
I
just
wouldn't
gets
say
mixed
so
up
either.
between like when Harry and Mary Jane were going out. Maybe like once he figured out he was kind of more maybe third wheeling that we just don't know of.
Yeah.
And that's why he's like kind of becomes that.
I want that movie. Just the
Pardon me?
third wheeling.
Just the
dates.
third.
No,
There's no point of having
Peter
that.
just sitting there where they're like making out and he's
Could have been me.
taking pictures of him.
And do you guys think this is pretty weird when
Oh no.
Mary Jane says, or maybe Peter sees. Anyway, she's getting married,
Yep.
and they're talking about it, and he's like, "I always imagined you getting married on a hilltop."
Yes
that
and
not
no.
really weird?
I think it's just like him. To me,
like-
it's Peter being like that endless romantic towards Mary Jane. Like that's how you can tell he cares about her because he's just envisioned her getting married. That's when you know, okay, this guy is like smitten for
Yeah.
this girl. So.
Head over heels.
And then she's just like, I'm getting married in a church, and then leaves him. And then, but you are different. And then he like puts on his glasses, and so yeah.
Okay.
What was I
I
gonna say?
have issues.
I love the raindrop sequence when
The
it's
what,
like
sorry?
raindrops, like the song sequence
Mhm.
when it's like showing him getting back in the Peter Parker life. The cop cars go by, he's staring, and he just takes a massive bite of a hot dog and keeps walking, and he's doing the walk, and he's like. No one that can answer the question in class, and like I just like that showed him like getting back to being Peter.
Mhm.
But then I like not too soon after you see a guy getting mugged and he doesn't stop it, and then the fire where he saves the little girl, but then he finds out someone else died in the fire.
Yeah.
And that's one of my notes that I like that Doc Ock's in it. Most superhero films are usually about hey, there's a new villain, and what is
What's the villain gonna do?
yeah, what is the villain going to do to the main character? I like that is happening, but I like that the main core of the movie is about Peter Parker balancing Spider-Man. It's not just a sequel about another villain. The sequel's still about Peter Parker.
That's something I've
Spider-Man.
always liked
why I
about
really
Spider-Man is that he's your like classic street crime fighter as well. Like he's fighting off even those little criminals as well as the big world-ending kind of guys.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's a line he says, "Punch me, I bleed." That's a tribute to Superman 2. It's a very classic scene where Superman gives up his powers for Lois
So
Lane.
that's the second Superman reference then, because there's another time.
And the first one, she
Is
says,
that
"You're
the
not
first one?
Superman, you know." Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, he says, "Punch me, I bleed." And in Superman 2, he gives up his powers for Lois Lane. He gets in a bar fight and he gets punched for the first time as a human and he bleeds. So it's that parallel of he's kind of giving up his powers to be with Mary Jane. So good on you, Sam Raimi.
Nice, that's clever. I like that. Let's talk about the warehouse fight scene.
At the very end.
Yeah.
I like it. I think that it's not so much about the fight. I think it's more about Spider-Man and Mary Jane figuring out. Yeah, I think it's more about objects coming at them and Spider-Man saving them. And I love when he saves her from the falling wall.
And
And
like,
she's
hi.
yeah, he's like,
This is heavy.
"Hey," yeah, this is heavy. And then she's like, "Oh, do you love me?" and everything. So I like it. It seems I don't know where this is taking place in New York. It seems like it's just in this.
It's just a
rundown neighborhood.
shipping bay. It's fun.
Yeah, it's like all the stuff's
Shipping
collapsing.
bay.
And the police are really late to this thing. Like I don't know.
It's an old shipping bay. It's fun.
There's not too
Very
much
old.
fighting going on. I like that he throws some shade when he's like, "Oh, I knew Osborn couldn't finish the job." Like he has that sass. But why do you bring up? Are you not a fan of it, or?
I was just wondering what you guys thought. I like that. I thought that line of "this is really heavy" was quite funny. I thought it was a decent end scene. I think you made a good point earlier that they kind of did their big fight scene between Spidey and Dr. Octopus earlier with the starting on the clock tower and then falling down to the train.
Yeah, no one's gonna top that. Doc sacrifices himself. We've talked about that. I think it's a little them trying to shoehorn like it's like a Vader redemption thing of like, oh, he's good now, but it's like doesn't really hit because just to 5 minutes ago he was a bad motherfucker. So
It's still it's like why? So why is he good
So you
now?
could've
And he wasn't
controlled this.
earlier?
yeah, because Peter hit him a couple times. Like I don't want that, but I like he brings down the water. He dies. There is a newspaper in Spider-Man 3 on the wall. I'll point it out if I forget it again, but it says Doc Ockster at large and it's a question mark. So people are always like, "Oh, does that mean something?" Obviously, it never did.
In
but-
Spider-Man 3?
Yeah,
Okay.
so no one knows that he's dead. It's like a mystery of what
Not
happened.
really
to Doc Ock.
confirmed.
No, he's in the bay, just floating
Good
down.
call, yeah.
You know, so.
I have a question for Kyle, actually.
There we go.
Because we've been talking about this movie for like an hour now, and I don't know why you dislike this movie.
Mm-hmm.
You haven't really given me any reason to explain why you don't like this movie.
I guess for me, like I shouldn't have said this. Like I think I re-corrected myself. Said it was still good. It just wasn't what I thought it was going to be.
Okay.
Right. I found the movie kind of boring.
Right.
Kind of halfway through when Peter, was doing his change of what he was kind of going through of like, you know what, I'm just going to be Peter again. I felt like I've almost seen that before of them just wanting to be, just a regular person. But I
Win though before Spider-Man. That's
I know.
Have you just seen it a lot in movies?
I think
previous?
recently, and that's why it's kind of ruined it for me now.
I think that's another reason why this one gets so much love because that was one of the first movies to do that. It looked more
about.
forward of not just like it's another superhero.
Yeah.
It's like what happens if the superhero stops being a superhero.
Yeah.
Because like you're probably thinking of Watchmen, you're thinking of Dark Knight Rises, you're thinking of like all these ones where it's like, whoa, they're done being the superhero. Where this movie wise hadn't really happened yet.
Well, if you let me continue my thought process,
Nope.
I would have
Not at all.
answered that myself. But no, I just felt like I think I didn't like it as much as the first one just because of what I said before. Just I felt like Peter was just kind of going through this. Well, I'm just always late. And you know what? Screw it. I just don't want to. He's just juggling so many things at once, and so he's just gonna be Peter. And I just started just getting bored of just watching him just being Peter Parker and just watching everything go by, and then having Aunt May kind of just like it was a good. Don't get me wrong; these are like good scenes, but just for me overall, like I found it kind of boring, and that's why I really kind of just stopped watching it, but I was kind of like
Tuned out a little.
I
Stop
tuned-
watching. I didn't get to the end, guys.
I think it's to the end. I just said pause.
Dr. Octopus dies?
What?
They get together?
No, I just started getting bored of it until it kind of started turning around again.
Okay.
But it's not like I shouldn't have said dislike.
Kyle hates this movie, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I hate this movie.
Worse than
It's the worst
Suicide
movie
Squad.
ever.
Oh, wow.
I like Suicide
Don't
Squad
tell the
so
guys
much
at Hunka
more.
Hunka about that.
No.
It's still a good movie. It's just I guess when you're watching back to back, and I felt like I was just rewatching what I already seen a bit, and then it was kind of just getting bored of I wanted a little bit more action when the train scene started coming when Dr. Octopus came, that's when I got more involved into it.
Right.
I just felt like there was a lag of, okay, like I get what's going on, but now I'm just bored of watching this.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, so that's my 2 cents.
Question answered.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure that's most of my notes.
I got a few others. I liked the fire scene we touched on a bit, but I liked him saving the people without his powers. That was cool to see. The juxtaposition to the first one where he's very powerful, he saves people really quickly, gets in and out, where this is like when he hits the door and it like hurts his shoulder. Yeah. So I liked that, and I like that it shows, once again, it's having, like the first one showing that and the guy in the alley, if he's not Spider-Man, he can't change the world, but he can make a few little differences, you know? And there's that, I really like this flashback, or the dream sequence scene of him and Ben in the car. I really like that, so I think that's well done. And I like that, we talked about that in another Spider-Man series coming up, but I like that Ben continues in the first one and this one to be a through line. He is in the third one in a very awful way, but he is a through line through the series, and it's always coming back to Uncle Ben. Like, we didn't talk about the first one, but even that, he says that line of like, I had a father, his name was Ben Parker, you know, like, where I kind of felt like, mini spoilers, mini Spider-Man, Ben dies, that happens, it's like, okay, we move on, that's really sad, but let's continue. Where I always feel like Uncle Ben is kind of looming. It's very much like the animated series, where like, Peter will randomly just refer back to Uncle Ben and like a flashback. It'll seem random, but it always feels like, oh, that's kind of looming over the show, and I like that. You know?
They definitely said again that the whole great power comes great responsibilities.
He literally said it again.
He literally said it again.
You write a line,
just in case
iconic,
you forgot,
you
didn't hear it the first time, you hear it the second time. But again, just that jumps. I think that's for me, after that, you know, like, moment of realization for his moral compass is changing back into Spider-Man. That's where it started picking up. Another thing is the elevator scene. When he loses his power, he has to get into the elevator, and it's just so awkward, and I loved it. It was
good
suit. So
yeah,
good.
It's a little tight in the crotch.
Yeah, it's just so awkward, but...
Where'd you get it? I made it.
That, to me, when I saw that scene, that felt very MCU humorish, and it's funny because when I was watching this, I completely forgot that Kevin Feige produced all 3 of these movies. Before he was like the grand guy at Marvel Disney, he did this, he did Daredevil, he did X-Men, like, he started in all these little ones.
You could say.
Yeah, he was just the minor producer, and then like he got to see what worked and what didn't work. And it's so funny to me, I saw that and I was like, that feels like a Marvel Iron Man scene. Like, I was like, man, that's where it's like, it's funny in little things you can see imprints of like a Feige-ness on this, of like the humor MCU, and that elevator scene, I was like, I could see Tom Holland and Robert Downey doing this exact same scene or something like that, you know? Sure. So it was funny to see that. I want to ask, because this was something I speculated a lot as a child with my friends when these movies were out. Did you feel like they hint a lot at Robbie knowing he's Spider-Man and Aunt May? Because at one point, Robbie says, I heard Spider-Man was there, because Jonah was like, did you get any pictures? And he's like, no. And Robbie's like, I heard Spider-Man was there, and he looks directly at Peter.
Wait, who's Robbie?
He's the Jameson's like right-hand man, or some sort of like writer for him.
Yeah, so he hasn't done the show in a while. He's in the animated show, Robbie.
He's the black guy?
Right, okay, I know that.
And then Aunt May, to me, her big speech kind of tips the hat of like she may or may not know. And I don't think the show...
I didn't get the vibe that Aunt May did, and I don't even remember like those scenes with Robbie.
Oh, see,
I don't think
I see what you mean.
I don't think they made a commitment, but I think they did those 2 scenes on purpose to make you think like Peter, like they may know, you know, because it's that question to me as a kid when you're smaller, you're like, oh, when is someone going to finally find out? Because at this point, no one knew he was Spider-Man yet in these movies,
and
right?
that kind of raises your question back from our previous podcast. It's like, how does the Peter know, or like the news group know that he's getting all these photos? Like, how is he getting these photos? Well, that kind of just goes to your speculation of Robbie just thinking, it's like, like, how do you get these good photos? Like, unless,
and he could just be looking at him because he's like, why don't you have the photos? But I like that they do that to make it seem like he could know or could not. Because I remember as a kid seeing that, people I always had those conversations like, oh, I think Rob or I think Aunt May might know. Because Aunt May not know, but there's a part when she just looks at him, she's like, the world needs a hero. Yeah. And it's just kind of like, it seems a little too on the nose.
Well, she's the classic Aunt May. She's like against Spider-Man until Well, not against, but until she gets
Fucking
saved.
animated.
So it could easily be that like it just swings right after that.
If you're not watching along, you should go back and go and watch the animated series and catch up on reviews. The amount of
It's
shade.
so much fun.
It is
so much fun.
the amount of shade that anime.
There's so much more drama.
Randomly, you got that when it was 24 hours or like 12 hours. The shade that anime throws at Spider-Man in those shows are nuts. Like, hates them. I love the scene when Peter tries his powers out again. He jumps in, he's like, I'm back! And he falls, and he cracks his back on the car, and he gets it. He's like, oh, my back. My back. And then, like, he touches the car, the alarm goes off. 2 reasons. One, I just find this a very funny scene. The way he just says, my back in pain. The second, it's an inside joke, because he almost was not in Spider-Man 2 because he suffered a back injury. And and back in the day, Jake Gyllenhaal and Kirsten Dunst were dating, and the rumor was, and it was apparently like a real thing, that if Tobey Maguire wasn't going to do it, Jake Gyllenhaal was going to be Spider-Man if Tobey couldn't do it. So yeah, that's why that back line is in there. It's kind of like a nod. So, and I don't even understand. You can see the difference of Hollywood nowadays, where it's like, you can tell, like, well, we need Tobey in the suit, this and that. Why the fuck would you need him in the, like, all the action scenes, you could have the guy with the mask, like a stunt guy. So it's like, to me nowadays, if like Robert Downey got hurt, it wouldn't even fucking matter. They'd just be like, let's make sure we get his face shots and the rest can do. So it's funny, the difference back then. It's like, Tobey hurt his back. We don't know if he can be in Spider-Man. So yeah, at one point, Jake Gyllenhaal is going to be Spider-Man. And I love Jake Gyllenhaal, but I'm glad it didn't happen, because that would have felt
cool.
That would have felt very odd to shift right in the second one for a main character. So
I got a quote at the very end with MJ and Peter. She's like, "Here I am standing in your doorway.
I've always been your doorway."
In your door.
I love that line. That breaks my heart. That almost brings a tear to my eye every time. Because like, as a man, you want to hear a girl say that to you one day. And I always say that to myself every once in a while. Like, I've always been standing at your doorway. Like, it's a great. I think that end scene with them getting together is great. Do you think? I think that end scene with them getting together is great. Do you think? Because you brought up her running away from the wedding, but I think the actual scene of them and him just saying, like,
I like that part. I think it was like maybe too much build up or took too long or something, but I do like when they finally get together.
Yeah. These are some little things. So about she wants to be with Peter, and then Peter again, it's like, no, it's not a good idea. She says she wants a kiss to know something. Do you think it's a love kiss, or do you think she wants to find out if he's Spider-Man? Because she's
a professional lip analyst.
She makes John kiss her upside down. And she's like, something's missing. And then the next time we see her, she's asking Peter for a kiss because she wants to know something. Yeah. Did you think that was a love thing, or do you think she thinks it could be Spider-Man?
I think she actually alludes to it later, saying that she thinks...
I thought I knew this whole time. Yeah. And even at the end of Spider-Man 1, after she gets kissed, she's like,
kiss me, can you kiss me upside down? That's kind of my thing.
He just runs out. So, what did you think about that? Why do you think she
I definitely think she did it to determine whether or not she was Spider-Man.
Yeah, for sure.
100.
So the reason that kiss doesn't happen, they're going in slow motion. All of a sudden, a car comes in. Very cool, because Peter jumps over, slow motion.
Spider senses.
You can go to Peter Parker, which I like how he goes, don't hurt Peter. Once again, the villains are written very well. Yeah. Don't hurt Peter. He goes there, and because he needs to talk to Peter to find out who Spider-Man is. His plan was to fucking chuck a car in the restaurant. What if he decapitated Peter Parker and he can't get that information from Peter Parker?
I didn't think about that.
Never thought about that my whole life, but I'm like, wait, why did he throw a car? Why didn't he just throw his arm in and take him? Like, if he kills Peter, that's it. It's over. Like, he doesn't know where Spider-Man is, so it's like...
Very calculated throw.
Maybe.
He didn't know Peter Parker was going to jump over.
Here's a theory. What if his plan was to throw the car in there, kill Peter, and then that baits Spider-Man out to come save him or something, or come check out the scenario, see what's happening?
Maybe.
It's a possibility. You know, for someone as twisted as him, and he has 4 other arms are controlling his brain. That's probably a thing an arm would come up with.
I like thinking of the universe where he kills Peter and he's just waiting for hours. One thing I needed, his 6 watches.
The cops are there. He's just like killing all of them.
Yeah, I need to wait for Spider-Man. I like when it's a very classic comic book storyline of like Peter Parker's done a Spider-Man. That image of the suit in the garbage, that's ripped right from the comic. So this whole storyline has a lot to do with the comics. I like that Jay gets the suit, or J. Jonah Jameson, and there's this moment where they're like, "Oh, we still can't find your son's fiance." He's like, "I was totally wrong about Spider-Man. You know, he's a hero. I brought him out." And then the suit gets stolen. He's like, "He's a menace. He's a criminal side." And then he just looks up at the camera and he's like, "I want Spider-Man." Like, he's great in this movie. And at the end, when Mary Jane leaves John, and then he goes to his wife, he's like, "Honey," and she's like, "What?" He's like, "I think you need to tell the caterer not to open up the caviar." And that all he cares about is the fucking money from the caviar. Like, caviar. And it was very, very funny.
Jameson killed it in this movie again.
Yeah.
Sure.
When Harry picks up the knife of Harry and Norman together, I like the little nuance of the father and son. I didn't notice that at all until tonight. At the wedding, when Harry signify Green Goblin. So this movie lost little touches, and I love that.
A little Easter eggs.
The first shot is the last shot of the movie is the first shot of the movie, a close-up on Mary Jane's face. Because remember, it starts with that billboard, and it zooms out. Yeah. Last shot is her looking out. So,
cool.
And this is my last question.
Look at this cinematography nerd, hey?
Yeah,
the last question I have, because you guys don't really remember 3 that well.
I haven't seen 3.
Right. So
I don't
you don't
really remember
it.
It's not my fault that I don't remember it, because I haven't seen it.
So what do you think Mary Jane is, other than what I point out with the first and last shot, what do you think's going through her head? Because to me, they have that great scene, they kiss, she hits him with the go-get-him tiger. Yeah.
Yes,
to me,
I like that tiger.
She looks very uneasy when she's looking out that window at Peter going to fight crime. What do you think it is? Do you think that's she's worried for his life? Do you think that's did I make the right decision? What do you think about that? Because that's your last impression going to the third one.
You know, the idea of dating Spider-Man might seem appealing at first, but obviously over time, that's probably a scary thought. And then maybe it looms back into her memory like, well, I'm not safe at all, really. Mm-hmm. I'm like key hostage number 1 here.
Yeah, because this thing of like, I love and want to be with this man, but it comes with a price. And already, the first time she's with him, she's already been left. Like, it's already been like, hey, hang out at my place with our creepy landlord.
You know, that's a pretty big goal to achieve, you know, getting with Spider-Man. Not many people can do that.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe I could see it being something like, maybe like a challenge. You know, this is a pretty big challenge to get to this point. Mm-hmm. And maybe now that it's there, maybe it's not quite the same as she thought it was going to be because he's super awkward. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
She's like, he doesn't kiss as good when he's upside down.
Yeah.
No, I think...
and he's just not into that, you know?
I see. I don't really remember the third one at all, so I won't be able to ruin it for you or our viewers.
So what do you think?
I think I know a lot about the third one.
You think that
it's been kind of ruined for me.
It changes what
the second Amazing Spider-Man. I had some stuff ruined for it as well. Like I knew what was
happening. The second Amazing Spider-Man is stuff like that where
it goes to a different direction.
It does, and it's like that where there's stuff where you need to watch it and you'll be like, why'd they make this choice? Like that's you'll hear about stuff, but you won't get the full justice until you see Spider-Man 3 and you'll be like, wait a second, what happened here?
I feel like for me, she would just be worried what happened because he's going out here. He's purposely going to fight crime.
I just thought, imagine if he died that same day after they finally got together and he just got, because he's like, woo, he's going, imagine it like he's Peter Parker revealed his friend and she just left her wedding.
Yeah. Oh, another thing that I have is that the first time when he was chasing those mob guys through that car just before they make machine gun noises and then back to a shotgun noise. If you guys,
it's a hybrid.
Some Osborne. It's
that's some 2004 bullshit.
I was like, what is happening? I'm like watching this and I like played it back. It's like, what? And it's like, yeah, no, the same gun, just like different like sounds for that gun that was happening.
Hey man, it happens all the time.
Does it?
No. I have some lines I want to throw out when he shows these pictures of Spider-Man and Jonah. Jonah's like, I'll give you 150. And then Peter's like 300, and he's like, "That's outrageous." Done. Classic Jay.
Yep.
When he flips over the car when his bike gets hit, and the kid's like, "Whoa!" and he's just like, "Eat your vegetables," and the one kid's like, "My mom told me that all the time, but I thought she was lying." I love that. The joke that Doc Ock tells at the beginning of his presentation of like, "Did anyone lose a roll of $20 bills?" Yeah. And then he's like, well, we found... It gets me every time when he tells. I'm like, oh, you're fucking great. We didn't show... I like that scene of him telling Peter to talk about poetry. His wife are, a couple. And then I like when Jonah's in that party. He's like, get a shot of the mayor and of his girlfriend. Wife. So clearly revealing
so
that the mayor is like cheating on her on the side, and that whole him just going around like, get a shot of me, get a shot, like Jonah's so good. So
He's great.
what are your lasting thoughts on this?
I guess going back, you guys brought both pretty good points. I'm still gonna.
Who are the better points? No.
Pardon me?
Probably Travis.
I don't know.
He's probably right.
I'm more on.
You have seen this movie many times.
Yeah.
Whereas
Probably too many
Whereas
times.
me, this one kind of blended with the first one. It's kind of.
Did you watch it back to back? I don't know. It's still good. I really like I liked it. I shouldn't have said dislike at the beginning.
Well, you ate it. It's fine.
I ate it. Whatever.
Secret's out.
Secret's out.
Sometimes Travis tricks you into liking things.
Yeah. As again.
He's pretty good at that.
What have I tricked you into liking?
Probably a lot of things.
Oh,
I don't
come
know.
on.
Skill to have.
Yeah. Here we go. So there was some.
You know,
Kyle's just sick of me
No,
talking.
I'm done. You know what? I give it sideways and a thumb.
like
Sideways
so
thumb.
not 2 thumbs
no,
up,
not
but
2 thumbs
a thumb
up.
and a half.
A thumb and a half.
So it's a bit better than what he's saying. It's I think there's a 0.5.
Because
right?
0.5.
a half thumb makes sense. Like if that's the only thumb you have, if you only have one to pick and it's right in the middle, it makes sense.
I guess it's 0. So I just.
Wouldn't that kind of
Well,
like
then-
Like it's still good. There's moments where I kind of got disconnected from.
It's a thumb system.
It's a weird system. I don't know. It makes I don't know. That's weird to me.
You just don't like numbers.
Yeah, you just don't like them. We're getting
I
close.
don't see the point
But
of the half
okay,
thumb.
you're allowed to have 2
What is the
thumbs.
point of the half thumb?
Like he said, for him it's a 0.5. So
You gave the last movie 2 thumbs.
Yeah.
So is that better than just 1 thumb?
The thumb system,
Netflix.
you know. Yeah, Netflix not good. I wish you
Go
at
back
least
to
give
the
us.
You should be done. You gave your thumbs. That's
You're
you
done.
gotta
I can
end.
take over now.
Screw you guys. That depends who you are. I got a little bit bored, but still brought around. Still the villains, good characters as well too.
Joe the pizza guy.
Oh,
Pizza guy.
his name wasn't Joe.
His
His name was Aziz. He worked at Joe's Pizza.
Right.
Really sets up for a third movie, which I really like. Well,
You like the third?
I like them setting.
The Overrated. Because you
That's
guys about the third movie, so
Okay.
I got a question.
Let's see. As for myself, I think Toby and I think.
So what else, Travis, were you thinking about this movie? Like, let's just budge into people's.
I'm gonna even give my review now. I'm just gonna sit here quiet and give my thumbs.
I'm gonna let
and
you
that's it.
eat up your own joke. I'll go when you're done. Oh, you did? Cool. Man. Like, I'll take the 20s. You know what I mean?
A rubber band.
Yeah. And I did like Norman. I had a couple questions. I was kind of confused
You
where
mean
his story.
Harry?
Harry.
Yeah.
But I think it makes sense. I mean, I think it'd be cool if he had like red
Time.
And
memorial
same
jackets and
jacket.
old blue, really washed out blue jeans, perhaps. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Wait.
Well, actually, not someday. But
Some bad hair.
and I think Jameson is phenomenal. Probably one this would be, but that sounds pretty good.
No, he got bumped down. He's like in the.
Well,
he's
I'd
like-
put him at 11.
Yeah, he's
there.
Yeah.
And my main problems with this movie is kind of just the pacing. Like I just found myself kind of her husband and stuff. Like I don't know. I just
Fiance.
Yeah, I just wasn't super into that. And then in these movies is so much better than the CGI in the Amazing Spider-Man movies. Like way
Some sparingly use the CGI instead of just CGI's entire.
exactly.
character.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's definitely the practical effects. But I lackluster villain in that regard.
Mhm.
So overall, this movie was like it had definitely had some good moments, and I like that there's a few nods in there that I didn't catch, but. This movie obviously had a lot of care into it, and it just left me a little disappointed, I guess. Maybe it was because I watched them right back to back, and the first one, not as into it. So I'll give it... Ooh, what am I going to give
It's
it?
very subjective.
I'm going to give it... I'll give it 1 thumb up.
Okay,
One
that's
thumb.
fair.
Yeah.
And it's not like the most erect thumb, but it's like...
No, like I said earlier, I think it's one of your better sequels out there, especially for superhero movies. Like you said, progression. I think it progresses a lot. It carries a lot over, and that's why I like the continuous story of, like I already said, the way he is, but the motives not the same as Green Goblin. I like that a bit more. For me, like I said, I do think it's like a better made movie. I think it flows better. They don't have to do the awkwardness of you gotta get right into it. This pizza thing, you see it fight some crime, stuff like that. Like. Yeah, I like this movie a lot. I ended it with the 2 thumbs up.
Ooh, clean too.
Yeah, no, I really the greatest comic book movie because I think one of the biggest things it does as well is the main story is shots against the Dark Knight, and they'll say, "Oh, it's not really Batman's story; it's Batman and Joker's story." That's why I think it's a strong point, but I understand that as a negative. Sometimes the villains do overshadow. I think the villains used enough, so I think it does a great job of being a secret villain, and he's just tearing up town, and Peter's just fighting crime, and delivering pizza. I've seen it. What, and also you've heard a lot of boasting about, what are your expectations, what are your feelings going into the third one? Venom's in it.
Those villains, I think they're really cool.
Harry plays an integral role.
As
What is?
Goblin.
I'm telling you, don't get excited. It should have been. That would seem like the natural progression. Like, hey, we have another Goblin.
I'm expecting it to be really bad. I've heard like he goes to this weird like emo phase and he's like playing on the piano and it's.
That too the other day. I don't even know why. I just
heard the villains are really bad, so that's disappointing. I'm not saying this like I don't think it's going to be a good movie. So maybe I'll think it's better than it is because I'm going in.
I think it's just one of the more disappointing ones. Like when you say you won't like every villain, I won't spoil which one, but I think there'll be all time like Fantastic Four, like Squad. Like for us, like it's not there, but it's just like a lot of stuff. You're like, this doesn't make much sense, or like this is strange. You know.
What I can remember is that I didn't like it, and I can't remember why. I definitely remember the jazz emo phase he kind of goes through. You'll see, it's interesting.
I'm excited.
Kind of what we've seen from the animated series, but I'll leave that up to you. I don't want to ruin too much for you.
Well, like I said, I have low expectations, might help it, but I also don't have the nostalgia value, and I feel like that could help. Like the Taylor when I was younger, I liked every movie just because why not? You know, you don't critique things.
Oh yeah,
and I don't have that value.
After already rewatching the original Spider-Man, I thought it was a lot crappier. It's going to be so. You know what? Spider-Man 3 might change like what I thought it might be, so it might be better than what
as a kid.
You did.
Yeah, and then as I've watched it over and over, I'm like, this does not hold up, you know. But it's not.
I think it was just a product of its time.
I don't think that's definitely not that. And then we got Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2. Those are some interesting, entertaining casts. So.
Yes, those are.
Yeah, our first
I know
Spider-Man retrospective, first Spider-Man movie being released, and you're not going to be here. Subscribe on YouTube, video services, or podcast service, whether that's...
Personally, I like SoundCloud.
I'm a big fan
Good
of
website.
iTunes.
I'm a SoundCloud.
Yeah, I like iTunes. I like being able to download it, have it on the go. I like, no data free, lock that up. Fail, Geek vs. Gauntlet, which is Geek vs. and Gauntlet. The Geek vs. Gauntlet, which is heating up right now.
Yeah.
Those things are quality pieces of work that we do. So
Lots of fun.
A lot of fun.
It's worth the bang. Spider-Man 3.
And we will catch
you
on
the
the
web. Bonesaw.
Bonesaw Massacre.
I like this though.
Go web, go.
Salt Bay, just web.
Salt Bay.